So just like to say a big thanks to everyone for joining today's webinar, in where we'll be exploring if Volunteer Impact is the right software for your organisation. So I'm your host today, Daniel Green. I am the software sales advisor for Better Impact, supporting small to enterprise-sized organisations across UK, Europe, Africa, all exploring our software solutions. You can probably tell from my accent already, but I am born and raised in Essex, down in South East in the UK. I have been with Better Impact now for just over 4 years. And during this time, it has been a real pleasure, helping and supporting people to achieve their goals, which is something I'm, really passionate about as well. That's enough about me. Let's move on. So some of the takeaways, or just so, or more like, let's say, benefits. Some of the takeaways or benefits listed on your screen today. These will include things such as common problems facing volunteer service teams. We'll have a quick program assessment combined of 4 questions shortly. Why the right software tools matter. A high-level overview of volunteer impact. And a few resources and a link to obtain your PDU certificate for attending today. So stick around. Some of you are not too sure what a PDU is. It stands for a Professional Development Unit, sometimes referred to as a CEC, which is a Continued Education Credit. So I'll be sharing that link with everyone towards the end of this webinar. So just some of the problems that you may come across in your daily routines, which may have even led you to attend today's webinar. Some of these issues could include, too much data entry, having that daunting feeling of filling out forms or spreadsheets, whether it's for personal user information or for reporting purposes. Maybe it could be using disconnected tools to do your job and not having that all-in-one stop shop for your needs, or having a streamlined platform to manage all this as well. Which ultimately leads me on to not having enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers, which, as you know, can lead to a breakdown of communication, just lack of interactions as well. If I could just ask everyone just put themselves on mute as well, that's okay, please, just to blank out any background noises. Thank you. And then finding affordable tools leadership will approve. We all know everyone has a budget, right? And there are some affordable tools out there, and sometimes you may have to consider what this is costing your organisation in lack of software, in which hopefully you can bring to the table for your leadership team to approve. And then it could be having insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data, which, as we all know, is very crucial in this day and age of modern technology. Well, hopefully for most of you, Better Impact has the solution. So talking about cybersecurity and protecting your volunteers' data. So how can you tell if a VMS vendor prioritizes data protection? So one easy way to tell is to look for the ISO certification. So ISO 27001 is the world's best known standard for information security management systems. So ISO certification means that the VMS vendor respects all the best practices and principles enshrined in this international standard. Having the actual certificate rather than simply following guidelines is an important distinction, because it means the vendor has actually been audited by an independent body once a year to make sure all these standards are being met. And you'll also be pleased to know that we are one of these vendors with ISO 27001, and we are also Cyber Essentials certified as well. So moving on, like I say, we've got a few questions we'll just get through. Feel free to use the chat to put in your answers. That'd be great. So we'll start off with question 1. Which problem resonated with you the most from the last slide? Was it number 1, too much data entry? Number 2, using too many disconnected tools to do your job? Was it number 3, not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers? Number 4, affordable tools that leadership will approve. Or is it number 5, insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data? And by all means, it could be more than one of these. So put as many answers as you like if it resonates with yourselves. So bounce through from NHS has put 1, 2, and 5. Yep. Chris and Melissa have both put 2 and 5. Rosemary, Hayden's put all of the above. Nikki, 1, 2, 3. All of above from Liz. Kath, you've put 2, 3, 4. Wow, okay, so a lot of multiple kind of answers there. I think seems to be 2 and 5 seems to be the front runners there, using too many disconnected tools to do your job. Absolutely, that could be all different spreadsheets, Excel, Microsoft, Google Forms, whatever it could be. And again, number 5, insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data, which is very, important and integral in this day and age. So thanks, everyone. On to question 2. So how are you managing your volunteers currently? Number 1, spreadsheets. Number 2, a VMS, which is a volunteer management software. Or is it 3, something else? If it is 2 or 3, feel free to let me know what it is you're currently using as well. Thank you. So Bonnie, we're new to this, so not at all currently. Melissa using number 1. Yep. All my previous webinars, number 1 has definitely been way out in front here. Spreadsheets, which I'm guessing is Excel. Normally the major one there. And Kath, not currently managing her volunteers, but are developing a program. Excellent. Hopefully this is of interest to you then. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. So question 3. In your opinion, what's most at risk if a change doesn't occur sooner rather than later? Again, is it number 1, volunteer turnover disengagement? Number 2, staff turnover disengagement. Number 3, wasted money. Number 4, damage to your org's or program's reputation, or something else at number 5. Yep, so there we go. We've got 4 and 1. 1 and 3. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Ben3. Nikki, you've put 3 and 5. Wasted money. Yeah, Kath, 1, 3, and 4. I think as well with this webinar and including ones before, yeah, I would say 1 and 3 seems to be the front runners on that one. Excellent. Thanks everyone for your input there. So did you know that more than half of all employees are unhappy at work because of the software tools they're using? Well, 51.95% says yes. Have any of you ever become dissatisfied at work due to missing or mismatched software? That's a good question. So being provided the right tools to perform the job plays into our level of job satisfaction. So when the right tools are not in place, our level of efficiency and effectiveness decreases. So this is just one factor that can contribute towards our unhappiness in our role. And just to let you know, these stats have come from G2's 2019 State of Software Happiness Report. You can click on the link there for more info. So this is quite an alarming stat. So about 1 in every 8 employees has actually quit a job because of mismatched software. So the fact that this is a cited reason for people leaving an actual job speaks to how important it is to outfit employees with the right tools for the job. So turnover is disruptive to progress and goal attainment. So let's get you and your team working with tools that make you feel less frustrated and rather more empowered and productive. when you do your job. Now it's time to explore volunteer impact and how this can help you achieve just that. So I'm just going to switch over and share my other screen. So here we go, everyone. So I've logged in Better Impact. This is the dashboard that you're presented with when you first log in. And first of all, I just want to point out as well that this is what we call our standard edition software, where you've got this, this platform, you're one organization handling one database of volunteers. Whoever is an admin or have admin access in this account will be able to see all user profiles. We do also have and provide what we call an enterprise edition software, which is ideal if you're an organization that has like different departments, locations, shops, or even branches, and each of them departments and locations needs to be managed separately, where admins can only see their pots of volunteers as well. That's called the Enterprise Edition, where this will then become a sub-account. So only admins who have access to this sub-account will see this. But obviously this is standard. This is what we're focusing on. And as you can see here, as I've mentioned, this is what we call your dashboard. So it's good to know that our software is, it's a volunteer management software solution. It's an end-to-end software to, from start to finish, to manage all your volunteers throughout their journey. And you can see there's some numbers here in these circles. These represent them statuses of what your volunteers are going to go through within their journey with your organisation. So the first one is an applicant. So these are all people that have submitted your application form, which I'm going to show you shortly. They're going to land in here automatically as an applicant. And they will sit there until you determine where they go next, depending on your screening process. The next one along is the in-process stage. So this is just volunteers that, you're waiting to approve or reject a custom field or a qualification that you may be waiting on as well. We then got accepted. So these are all your active accepted volunteers as well. And then we have inactive. So I like to call this the leave of absence status. So these are all volunteers that are taking a long leave or a break from volunteering. This could be medical, maternity leave, just having a holiday, for example, but at some point will return back to your program, and you can dictate if they're going to be short-term or long-term as well. And then lastly, archived. So this is everyone that's either, they didn't start, they were rejected upon your screening process, they moved on, resigned, whatever the case may be as well. You've then got these pin searches here. Now, this is something I'm going to touch on a little bit later when we go through searching and communications. And then you've got an admin news section. You can even save some of your reports on your dashboard as well. That's unique to you. We have some badges and there's some system alerts popping up here as well. System message. So it's good to know, we always update and upgrade our software. This will all be accounted for in this system message as well. But what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to jump straight in. As I said, it is an end-to-end volunteer management software, from start to finish with your volunteers. So we're going to begin with the application process. Okay, so I'm going to flick over to what we call a public page. So a public page is like your advertising, a landing page you can create. As you can see, you'll be able to brand this to your organization. This public page will include things like a news feed. So you can create this news feed. There'll be a social media feed as well, which is backed up by X, formerly known as Twitter and Facebook. You can advertise your general interests on here as well. So just the fields of interest that the volunteer or the applicant is interested in. You give each one a description with an image. And then scroll further down, you can even publicly advertise your activities on here as well, if you choose to do so. And then at the bottom, you can also add what we call a mission statement, a little bit about yourselves. So when you create this public page, which you'll be able to do within the software, and as I mentioned, you'll be able to brand this, It's just a case of hyperlinking this when you have created this, and you're going to add this to your website. And this is where you're going to drive for recruitment and onboarding. So if I go to your website, it could look something like this. If I want to go through and fill in an application, I'm just going to click on this tab here. And it's going to bring me to this page. So there's 2 steps someone has to go through in order to register and apply with your organisation. So step 1 is they have to register with what we call a My Impact Page account. If you're not too sure what that is yet, that's the volunteer login portal. So the volunteer has their own profile, their own portal, and on this profile, they will be able to update their personal information at any time. They will be able to sign themselves up for any activities and any shifts that you would have created as an administrator. They'll also be able to log their hours and any feedback fields required as well. And just to let you know as well that the My Impact page is app-based as well. So your volunteers will be able to download it for free on any Android or iPhone device and use it on the go. So if I'm brand new, just like most things online, I just need to register with username, email address, and my current address, and then I've registered. If I already have a My Impact Page account, which could be possible, it could be that I volunteer with another organisation that are already using Better Impact. I can just log in with my login credentials I already have. Once I have created and registered with My Impact Page account, it's going to take me to the application form. As you can see, all of these, by the way, are all branded by your organisation. So, this is what we call a banner. So this would be your branding at the top, even down to the colours of the tabs. You'll be able to customise to your own kind of organisation colours as well. So this is what the application form could look like. So we have a general availability chart. So as an applicant, I could just pick and choose my availability. I can see current volunteer opportunities. So these are what we call the general interests. So they're more like want ads or fields of interest that the applicants are interested in. So this could be, I forgot to mention as well, this demo account you'll see is based upon a museum as well. So these general interests could include things like administration, boards and committees, fundraising, development, guest services, gift shop, etc. You create all these from scratch. You can add your qualifications that are needed. It's good to know you can add expiry dates to qualifications, so such things as like DBS background checks as well. And we have the additional info. So these are what we call the custom fields. So custom fields are a great way just to collect data from volunteers and applicants. I like to call them your customized data collecting questions. So these could be things like, what languages do you speak? Have you got a CV? Emergency contact information, references, things like that as well. You can manipulate what type of answers you want with these custom fields as well. So we've got things like short text boxes, we've got drop-down menus, we've got date fields, number fields, check boxes. And as you can see, you'll be able to group these custom fields into categories as well. So we've got like a reference section, emergency contact section as well. And you can also choose a file upload as the answer. So if you do want to gather something like a CV or a driver's license, choose the file upload. That will give the applicant the opportunity to download a file. Once I've completed your application form, I'm just going to submit it there. And then back to the dashboard. Once I've completed that, that's where I'm going to land here as an applicant. Okay. Something else I've got to mention at the start as well, the system will alert you or flag up for any things that, because you can set permissions on custom fields and qualifications. So you've got private, read only, read write with approval, and without approval. So private is obviously only for admin eyes, which is great for sensitive and EDI information. You've got read only, read write with, and without approval. If it's with approval, it could be something like a reference. When that comes in, it will flag up here along with the number of fields that need to be approved or rejected. And that's the same with the qualifications as well. What's really good as well is it will flag up any qualifications that are soon to expire, which, as you know, may not make that volunteer eligible for the role they're already contributing towards. If they do miss that, then they'll go into the expired qualifications as well. And you'll also, it will flag up any birthdays and anniversaries as well. So brilliant. So what I'm going to show you now is the volunteer profile. So in this top right here, just going to click on this little person image. And then in this search bar on the top right, I'm just going to type in Veronica. She's our demo volunteer. As soon as you start typing the name, the system will start, match that straight away for you. So you've got to put in the full name all the time. So Veronica Smith, click on her, and it takes me to her profile. So as you can see, on the main dashboard bit here, you can upload a profile picture of Veronica. She'll also be able to do this from her My Impact page. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a little while as well. You can see a quick snapshot of her contact information, history, most recent contributions, next shift. You can see a quick bar graph showing you of her hours she's contributed over every month, and you can just hover over the month to see the hours contributed. You can also see a pie chart showing where her hours have gone towards which activity. And another cool feature that we've got is badges. So you will be able to award badges for your volunteers for signs of recognition and awards. These could be hours, milestones, anniversaries, feedback fields, and qualifications as well. We have got some templates you can use, or you can download your own image if you have got that at hand as well. So going across these tabs here, if you just want to communicate with Veronica, just click on the communications tab. You can send Veronica an email. You can send her a text message. You can send her a personal message as well. If you send her a personal message, this is going to appear on Veronica's dashboard of her My Impact page. So if you just want to thank her, she came in at lastminute.com to help out on an activity, on a shift, and you just want to thank her, you can put it in here and that will be displayed on her dashboard. There's also an email history as well. So it will log all the outgoing emails, but not the replies. So it will obviously stamp the dates, the subject, and from which administrator. You've got text message history, and there's also a note log as well. So you can put any notes towards this particular volunteer. The volunteer won't see this. This is just for admin eyes. So any notes you need to make, you can make them here. It's good to know that you can assign volunteers to shifts as well. You may have it where you may have a few volunteers that are quite elderly or not quite IT tech savvy. You can do everything on their behalf. So you can assign them up to activities. You can even log their hours and feedback fields on their behalf as well. And if that's the case, just click on the assign and you'll be able to assign her to any of your activities that you have created down here. You can see Veronica's schedule. So what she has up and coming, you can see that in the list format. If I scroll down, you will be able to see this in a calendar format as well, which by all means you can email this to the volunteer as well, to Veronica, or you could print it off and post it out to her as well. If she wants something tangible by hand, she wants to put on the fridge, for example. You can see her hours. This is all of Veronica's logged hours. You could just do some quick reports. And this, again, this is just for this particular volunteer. You can add, this is a cool feature, you'll be able to add your volunteers to committees. So committees is like an email-based group where the volunteers can email each other as well. Think of it as kind of like a WhatsApp group, but for emails. So obviously with the volunteers' consent, you'll be able to add Veronica or anybody else to a committee that you would have made up. Going back to the main, and then we've got these sub tabs underneath. So you can see all of Veronica's contact information. You can see her custom fields. So again, these would have been all the answers she would have filled in upon the application form. But I just want to stress as well that custom fields, they're not just used for the application process. They're there for the entirety of using Better Impact, just to collect that data from that particular volunteer. And there we go. There's all of Veronica's answers. She's got her references, what languages she speaks, and all of her kind of personal about you information. You can see her qualifications as well. So you can see here, her age range is 21 years or older. She's passed her DBS background check. She's completed her general volunteer orientation and her annual volunteer certification. And again, as you can see, they some of them have them expiry dates as well. You can see her general interests. So what she's ticked as her interests, her general availability, and there's a miscellaneous tab as well. So you can see the date she joined. You can see there's a database user ID as well. That's unique to every user profile as well. When she last logged in. And if she has told you that she is going away or she's going on a nice world cruise for a good 6 months, you can make her inactive. There. Brilliant. So now you've seen the dashboard and the volunteer profile. I'm going to focus on these main icons at the top here quickly. So we're going to start off with the configuration icon. So whenever you click on any of these main icons, they're going to bring up all the subcategories here on the left-hand side. Okay. So here, this is where you can do your branding, where you can add your banner, your theme and content font settings. This is where you will be able to create them custom fields. There we go. So this obviously starts off as a blank canvas for when you begin in your account, but it could look something like this. So there's all them custom fields that were created that we saw on the application form and on the profile. You can see her qualification, not her qualifications. This is where you can create and add your qualifications, sorry. Badges, general interests as well. When you have created your application form on public page, you can click on here, links for websites, to generate that link where you'll be able to add this to your website. Manage activities. So this is where you would create the activities as well. So, and just like the custom fields, you would be able to group your activities into categories or sections as well. When you create an activity, or any of these, by the way, a custom field or qualification, just create a new one just by heading over to this little green box and selecting what you want to create, basically, a new activity. So if I click on new activity, you can give it a name. You can add it to a category if you want to. You've got some checkboxes here where you can make it active. You can allow hours login. So what you can also do is auto log the hours as well, which is really good. If you do select that option, it will bypass the volunteer able to leave any feedback fields. Allow group signups. Just like you saw on a public page, this is where you can add your description. You can put as much text as you like, along with images, any attachments. And then you can give this a schedule. So you can give it like a recurring pattern with a set of shifts. If it's Monday to Friday, 10 till 4, put it in. Disjointed, one time only, seasonal, or just no schedule at all. Visibility and automation. So this is a really cool one. So you'll be able to manipulate who sees which activities based on their qualifications if you want to as well. So I'm just putting in a quick shift there. So you can manipulate who sees these. Like I say, is it going to be for only volunteers who are signed up, assigned on backup list, visible to everyone that's accepted and qualified, or do you want to make it public? As you saw, you can display these on the public page as well. And then add your qualification. So if I haven't got a DBS background check and this activity needs that, it won't even be visible for me to apply for that because I haven't got that qualification. All right. Going across here as well, sorry, just back on here, you'll be able to add your feedback fields here as well. And then we've got some resources at the bottom here. You will be able to create e-learning modules for your volunteers to take. So create some online learning content. This could be, like a little quiz or a test that you set. It could be some documents you want to upload for them to read, and then maybe have a couple of questions at the end, proof they've read it. and you can assign qualifications to e-learning modules as well. And we also have a document library. So a document library, it's a great place to store any files, you know, whether these are policies, waiver forms, and you will also be able to have the option to share these with your volunteers as well, and they'll have access to that on their My Impact page. Okay, going back up to the top here, we click on the people icon. And again, you can see here on the left-hand side, all the subcategories. So this is where you'll be able to add a volunteer. So again, you will be able to add volunteers manually if you find some may struggle to go through your application form, add them manually, and it will create an account for them. You'll be able to add admins as well. You've got unlimited admins at your disposal within our software. We don't charge for how many admins have access to the software as well. Now, if I want to do a quick search, I can just select search here, just under the people on the left-hand side. Let's just say I just want to do a quick search of all my accepted volunteers. Just check that box there, press search, and there we go. I have 224 accepted volunteers. Okay. But what I'm going to show you is now the communications icon. So this megaphone icon here, I'm going to select this because I'm going to show you how we can filter down a search as well. So you can do that just from a search or from an email or for any communication list. So as you see on the left-hand side, we have three main methods of communication within the software. That's email, texting, and you can do it like a mail out as well. You can print off labels. You can do this in mass. If you do things like monthly newsletters, you can do this in filtered groups, which I'm going to show you shortly, or you could just do it individually, as you see by just going to the volunteer profile. So if we send an email, again, we're kind of presented with this kind of filtering page. So I'm just going to select accepted. But what I'm going to do, rather than press search, which will bring up all the list of all my accepted volunteers again, which is great if you want to just send out a mass email, you know, like I said, like a monthly newsletter, for example. If you want to reach out to a particular group, we're going to click on this tab here that says add search criteria. When you click on here, you're presented with this drop-down menu. And here you can pretty much choose what you want to kind of filter down and search on. So I am actually going to do a qualification. So click on qualification. These will all be your list of qualifications that you created to come up. So I'm just going to choose one from here. Let's go with, do I have a driver's license? So maybe you have an opportunity that's comes up that's like a driving job, you know, like a delivery kind of role. So I want to see F1 that has a driving license. So I'm going to say level is equal to yes. Add and go. And there we go. 33 people were found. And you can just send an email to them 33 people. You put the body of the email in now. You can set it like a high priority or medium if you want to as well. You can add links, attachments, images to these emails. And another cool feature we have is email templates. So if it is an email you generally or frequently send out to your volunteers, create that as an email template, and you can use that, save typing the whole email all over again as well. Let's just see what we've got here. Let's just say it was a monthly newsletter, just to show you what that looks like anyway. As I say, you can add images, attachments. You can set a first name and last name placeholder to this as well. So when the recipient receives this email, it would be a bit more personalized. It's like, hi, Dan, hi, Mary, hi, Jane, for example, as well. Now, if this group of accepted volunteers that have a driver's license, I'm going to know that I'm going to be frequently communicating them. What I can do, I can just save, press save, put in name, drivers. Now, what I can do is pin that search. So check that little box there that says pin search, save. And what I've done, if I click on this house, which will always take you back to the dashboard, I've now created a pin search, which is here. Okay, so here's some I've made up. These can be for lists, these could be for texting, it could be for emails. So there we go. There's one I've made up already. Volunteers with driving license. One that has weekend availability. So basically what I've done is I've created this shortcut. So you haven't got to always create that search. And this is unique to every admin as well. So these are my pin searches, but one of my other colleagues that has admin access to Better Impact, they'll have their own pin searches that's unique to them as well. And these update in real time as well. So if anyone's joined after I've created, let's say the weekend availability one, and they fit that criteria, they'll automatically be added to that list. Now going across, you've got the assign section here. So this is where I can assign volunteers. I can see all my activities, maybe in a calendar format, unscheduled or scheduled list. I'll just show you what a calendar format looks like. There we go. So over the month, you can see there's August and there's a lot of blue and some red. So as you can see at the top here, these represent the red, meaning that activity is still vacant. So you may want to pay some attention to that and get them slots filled in, right through to the blue, which means the minimum amount of volunteers has been confirmed for activity. You haven't got to worry about that. So I click on, let's say, Saturday the 3rd. Just hover over the day, takes you to, once you click on Saturday, it takes you to all the activities taking place on that day. And there you can see these two need some focus. So you click on here, you're kind of presented with this kind of filtering page. I've already got some pre-selected, must be qualified and accepted with no overlapping assignments. Press search. There we go. And then all the volunteers that match that search that I've done will pop up here, and I can assign them either individually or in bulk to activity as well. And then we'll go on to reporting. So it's good to know that you will be able to report on anything and everything as long as that data is tracked and recorded. So again, on the left-hand side here, you can do hours by volunteer reporting. So if I click on hours by volunteer, you can report over any date period as well. So let's do last year. View report. And there we go. It's brought up all the list of them volunteers that have logged their hours with, you can see Wendy Hunter at the top with the most hours, through to the bottom of the least, and it gives you a total hours, number of volunteers, and average per volunteer. All within this reporting section as well, you will be able to export this information to CSV and Excel as well if you want to take that data outside of Better Impact. Just show you a couple more reports quickly. We've got hours trend. So some of them come in bar graphs, some are in charts. I'll just show you this one as well. So an hours trend, view reports. And it will say we've got a bar graph version now showing the number of volunteers, hours volunteered, and average per volunteer by month. One of my favorites is under the general reports, personal profile raw data. So this is pretty much where you can just make up your own bespoke reports. Okay, so you can pick and choose what you like to report on, you know, whether it's custom fields and demographics and qualifications. So I'm just going to select accepted, search, and then by default, it will have the first and last name. And I can just pick what I'd like to collate as a report. Okay, so I'm just going to select all of them, references, just to give you an example. Let's just check a few of these. So Monday through to Friday. And then when you've created what you want to pull a report on, just press View Profiles. And there we go. It's brought out that list of all the information that you've chosen, which are, as I've just mentioned, you will be able to pull this out to Excel or CSV as well. Excellent. So I'm now going to quickly show you what the volunteer portal, which is my impact page, could look like. So as I mentioned, this is what we call a My Impact page. So this is the volunteer login portal. Obviously, this is the desktop version, but as I've mentioned, it's also app-based. And just like your application forms and your public page, you will be able to brand this as well. So when I open it up, it all looks like it's from your organization. And again, you can customize the color of the tabs and the fonts. And you're going to see a lot of similar information that we saw on the volunteer profile, because it's Veronica Smith again, that we saw on the admin portal as well. So this is her dashboard. So I've logged in as Veronica. Again, here's where I can edit or change my profile picture. I can see my badges. There's that social media feed again. We've got an image gallery. This is backed up by Flickr feed. It's a bit old school, but it's there at your disposal. There's that personal message that I mentioned. If you just want to send Veronica a personal message to, she's come in last minute to help out, you can put it here, and this will only be displayed to Veronica. No one else will see this. You have a separate news feed as well. So not only the one on your public page, excuse me, but also the one in the My Impact page account. All volunteers will see this news feed that you add here. And again, you've got your mission statement. Now, if you remember me saying about the resource of the document library, if you do share any documents with your volunteers, they'll have access to them files here. Okay. Back up to the top, I can see some opportunities. I can see this in a list or a calendar format. So if I want to sign up for any of these activities, they're all into their categories, as you can see. I'll just sign up here. However, I'm going to show you quickly the calendar opportunity format. I think it's a little bit easier in the eye. And there we go. So if I want to sign up for tour guide on the 6th, just click on that. Brings up all the information regarding this activity. And I can just sign up here as well. If I go to my schedule, I can see all my upcoming activities. I can remove myself or disassign myself an activity if something's come up and I can no longer make it. However, you will be able to set a kind of a timeline when you create an activity of when someone is allowed to remove themselves as well. I can go and click on the hours tab. Once I click on here, this is where I log my hours and any feedback fields. So all I need to do, let's say I've just come back from a shift. Let's say it was information booth attendance. Click on that, put in the date I volunteered, the number of hours, just put 3. And as I mentioned, you will be able to create feedback fields if you want to gather more information from that volunteer on the day of the shift. We've got things like number fields, drop-down menus, and a long text box as well. Once I've logged all that, all this information does automatically feed back into your admin portal, and again, you'll be able to report on all this as well. I've got a reports tab, which is just for my own benefit. I can see my own kind of hours I've contributed over the past year. If I need to contact any admins, I can do it here. It could be that I'm already in discussions with you on email, but this is where I just select the administrator I'd like to chat to, put in a message there, and send the email. On the My Profile tab here, I can see my contact information that we just saw on the admin side, my additional info as well. There we go. So all the same information we saw. However, not as many custom fields are displaying here as it was on the profile on the admin side, because a lot of them were set as private, where the admin can only see them custom fields as well. You've got your qualifications. This is where I can take any of them e-learning modules that you would have created as well. Just some other features we've got here, a time clock QR code. So you have got a feature called a time clock kiosk and a time clock kiosk express. So if you have a device at the place of work, like a laptop or a computer or a tablet, your volunteers can either log in using their username and password, Alternatively, they can use the QR code to scan in and out of the place of where they're volunteering as well. Brilliant. So that's the demo. I'm now going to go back to the slides. Bear with me 1 second. So now, after showing you some of our main features and functionality, I'm now going to share a short video of why some of our members chose Better Impact and what they love about our software.
So why did I select this product? It integrated with my background check product. I can tell you that the sales and customer support people are outstanding. Direct contact with a person that's talking me through all of the steps, doing training for us and my whole team. And inside the product is so much help. 24/7, you can chat with a person who's really a person. At 3 o'clock in the morning when we were first converting, I was talking, I was playing, I was trying to figure out something. I hopped onto the chat and I was thinking, there's nobody going to be around at 3 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And lo and behold, within a couple minutes, I was talking to a guy who was on the other side of the globe, who was answering all of my questions for me. It is fun and kind, and I don't ever feel stupid. So I can't say enough about the customer support and the sales part.
Yeah, it was value for money and on budget what we wanted. Easy to implement. We had 300 volunteers already on the books. So we were able to extract the information into a spreadsheet, and then they took it away and uploaded all the information in the right place, gave the usernames and the passwords so that we could then write out to the volunteers with. Better Impact is I call it a cradle to grave. It's an application right the way through a volunteering journey. So once they do their application form, they're already setting up their volunteer page. But the team were very, very supportive, as I said already, very, very supportive.
Why did we go with Volunteer Impact? Because there were a few other options out there for us. It's definitely an affordable management system. It was something, it actually cost us less to move towards Better Impact than it was with our former system. There were a lot of volunteer-centered features, allowing the volunteers to own their own experience. And that was something that we saw right off the bat. We had heard of some great features like self-scheduling and how volunteers can go in and update and change their own addresses, schedule time off for vacations. So these were things that were definitely selling points for us. My impact page gives the volunteers the opportunity to absolutely own their experience with us. Everything that they need is at their fingertips. If they need extra resources or easy ways to communicate with us, it's all there through that.
I've been using Better Impact since about 2016, 2017, and I absolutely love it. My favorite part of the system, and it's really hard to actually just come up with one thing, but I would certainly focus on the personal profile reporting. You can fully customize it to get as much data as you need, as much information as you need, or as little as you need in that one report. It's incredible.
Excellent. So yeah, some happy customers there. Okay, so now that you've all learned a little bit about Volunteer Impact and you've seen some of our case studies from some of our happy members, I'll now share with you Better Impact's background. So our story of Better Impact actually started by fluke, which was our CEO Tony's passion project of building a web-based volunteer management software solution for a residential hospice he founded, which then gave birth to the beginnings of a global We're Here to Help company, Better Impact. So we're 20 plus years old now. We're a small company, but we do have a global impact. We have offices here in the UK, Canada, USA, and Australia, but we do have customers all over the globe. We specialise in volunteer management software, Volunteer Impact, which you've seen today. However, we are also providers of donor, client and member solutions that all integrate with a volunteer impact as well. And lastly, yeah, we're here to help the company.